who comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, my fellow trudgers. We're going to do the daily reflection. This is also kind of a test. I'm going to put that in there today too. All right. I'm done sharing. Whoops. Put that down. Whoop. I did not mean to do that. Okay. That's all right. I just downloaded the chat. Hi. Yes. How come you only give me love when I go live? What is that? Huh? You just want to show off and be on camera. Is that it? All right, we're going to be in the 12 by 12 today, page 139. 139, you just want the window open, don't you? Yes, you do. Now, where is my 12 by 12? Where is it? There it is. I found it. I found my 12 by 12. And be patient with me because I'm also talking to Restream. So I'll even put something in chat. All right. So we were talking about true tolerance. And in this one, we're going to be covering tradition 3. Yeah, thanks, dude. No, thanks. Here's where the animals. Here's my butthole. And Restream's coming. Don't zero out on me. All right. Well, we're at the 3-minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and kind of get started. Millions of people will show up. This will be the one time when, like, nobody comes here. It'll be me and Restream. Page 139, which I bet is in tradition. Not tradition 2. Oh, tradition 3. Just checking something real quick. All right. So true tolerance, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Now, it used to be a honest desire to stop drinking. But we had to change that. All right. They're wondering if it's working. All right. So Patricia just said something. All right. And I just need to make sure this is coming from the. All right. It worked. It worked. All right. Now we can move on. Okay. That's settled. Thank you, Patricia. Glad you were here. Okay. We got chat working. Yay, I got something accomplished today. I had to call the government to work on my disability. Oh, just waiting, and then they want to. Yeah, okay. So the government is, you got to cover every little thing. They got to say everything. They asked me where I was born. I almost didn't remember. Let's get started. This tradition is packed with meaning. For AA is really saying to every serious drinker, you are an AA member if you say so. Okay. And in my book, the word you is italicized, and that means it's very important. Okay. That's what that means in here. If you say so. I cannot declare you an alcoholic. I cannot declare you an alcoholic. It goes against the disease. Okay. Only the person, only I can declare that I am an alcoholic. Nobody else can call me that. Okay. That's why clinical places use like AUD, SUD, things like that. Okay. I'm presuming. I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm actually doing. But yeah. So you declare yourself in. Nobody can keep you out. Now, you remember earlier, some of you were here, and what I was talking about is if I'm not getting along with somebody else, you are most certainly allowed to have a relationship with them. I don't care. That's what I did with my kids, because sometimes I would get into it with my mom, right? And I would tell my kids, I'd say, hey, my mom and I are getting along right now, but you know the rule, that doesn't affect your relationship. And I didn't talk shit about my exes in front of my kids. Nope, never did that. Never talk shit about my parents in front of my kids. Nope, I don't do that. Mm-mm. It's not for me. That's not for me to decide. Same thing here. I don't get to judge that. I'm not God. Radio conversation. There you go. You get it great. Now leave me alone. No matter who you are, no matter how low you have gone, no matter how grave your emotional complications, even your crimes, we still cannot deny you. We aren't a bit afraid you'll harm us. Never mind how twisted or violent you may be. We just want to make sure you get the same great chance for sobriety that we have had. So you're an AA member the minute that you declare yourself. And it needs to be done this way. Okay? As far as the admission of getting in. And why do we do that? Why do we do that? Because you've already been through enough. You don't need more. You don't need more guilt. You don't need more shame. You don't need more. You don't need to be lectured. No. Lectures are over with. And if you have somebody in there lecturing, you get the fuck away from them. Nobody likes that. If I'm lecturing you, please say something. Because gosh, what a crappy thing. No, these will work very well. Light. Yeah, see, it just doesn't quite work. That's all right. This whole room's a freaking mess. Slowly getting stuff done, right? So this is the way that I go about it. Alcohol is no respecter of persons. It does not care who you are. And neither do we. No. See, we're going to do everything that we can to make it as easy as possible for you. Because we already know how fucking tough it is. It's kind of like this. When somebody comes in and says, I've only got a week. And the group goes, no. Nope. You have a week. And we'll say things like, a week is longer than 8 years. Why? Because it's true. 1 week, 1,000 nights. I get it. A week is longer than 8 years. Okay? Give it to him, man. I don't know about you, but I couldn't go any more than 20, 30 minutes on my own willpower. And I think I'm being nice to myself on that. To establish this principle of membership took years of harrowing experience. In our early times, nothing seemed so fragile, so easily breakable as an AA group. Okay. My group right now is easily breakable. Actually, no, now we've got a good solid people. Now we've got a set of good solid people, actually. There's 4 solid people. It'll grow from there. And you know what? I thought that, so last Thursday, one person showed up, but you know what the Al-Anon group did? They're going back to their alcoholics because they're trying to get them to come to the group there. But what they're saying is the group needs support, which is true. And it was nice that they thought of us because no other group out there has actually done that for my group yet. And while that's not true, the 3 p.m. how it works, they support the crap out of me. But, it felt nice because they're getting it. They're understanding. And it makes me happy because for 4 years, I've been talking about something and it's now catching on. And that this is a family disease. Okay? And we recover together. We recover as a family. And when we do that, whole communities change. Because you decide to get sober. Wow. Okay. Hardly an alcoholic we approached paid any attention. Most of those who did join us were like flickering candles in the windstorm. Time after time, their uncertain flames blew out and couldn't be relighted. Our unspoken constant thought was, which of us may be next? It hurts. Sometimes it hurts, man. You turn around one day and 3 of your friends are just gone. They're just gone. It was a sunny day before. It was payday, like a couple weeks ago. The perfect storm in Colorado is Friday. It was payday, and it was the first nice day of the summer. I went to my AA meeting. We had lost 20% of the people. They have not returned. They haven't returned yet. Okay? That's why I am constantly planting seeds. Okay? That's what happened with me. A seed was planted. I found my way to AA, and I found my way back again. Thank God. Okay. Yeah, but our unspoken constant thought was, which of us may be next? That was scary. I am grateful for the people that came before me that did all of this so that we didn't have to. We get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Okay. So be that person. Be the person that's going to plant a tree knowing you're never going to be able to sit in the shade of it. But somebody will be able to. There'll be one day somebody will come along and sit down under that tree and have a better day because you took 10 minutes out of your life. And they don't even know you. They don't need to know you. A member gives us a vivid glimpse of those days. At one time, he says every AA group had membership rules. Everybody was scared witless that something or somebody would capsize the boat and dump us all back into the drink. Our foundation office asked each group to send in its list of protective regulations. The total list was a mile long. If all those rules had been in effect everywhere, nobody could have possibly joined AA at all. So great was the sum of our fear and anxiety. We were resolved to admit nobody to AA, but that hypothetical class of people we termed pure alcoholics. I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have qualified. 90% of us in the program right now wouldn't have qualified this. Yeah. Except for their guzzling and unfortunate results thereof, they could have no other complications. So beggars, tramps, asylum inmates, prisoners, queers, plain crackpots, and fallen women were definitely out. Yes, sir, we'd cater only to the pure, respectable alcoholic. Any others would surely destroy us. Besides, if we took in those odd ones, what would decent people say about us? We built a fine mesh fence around us. I'm one of the odd ones. We bet. I'm one of the odd ones. You're probably one of the odd ones too. If you listen to me, you're probably an odd one because we tend to, you know. And it's okay. I'm okay. I'm all right being a little odd. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, you know. That's okay. That's all right. Okay. See, I understand something. That when I go to an AA meeting, every single person in that room has a reason to be there, period. And I do not decide that. So instead, what I get to do is enjoy it. I was just talking to him. I don't know if he's an ex-sponsee or no. Now we're friends and we talk every now and again. Right? Got him through the steps. Now he's sponsoring other people. Calls me every now and again for, just to check in and things like that. And we were talking today and he's like, Dion, I don't know what it is, but it's like I'm just seeing things differently lately. He said, he's like, I'm 3 years in and things are changing again. Okay. And I know what this is. See, we talk about it. We have what's called a spiritual experience. And we get a set of them. You get more than one spiritual experience. I have spiritual experiences all day long. Okay. But you get to a point in the program where if you become 100% honest with yourself, yes, it's possible to do a lot of times. Are you going to be perfect? No. What will happen is you will have spiritual awareness. You will just see life for what it is, for exactly what it is. Okay, and it looks different. Maybe this sounds comical now. Not at all. Doesn't sound very funny to me. No, I'm not going to laugh at them for that. May you think we old timers were pretty intolerant. I think we still have a lot of pretty intolerant people now. And I don't think they're being intolerant. I just see a lot of fear. Okay. But there's always a way that comes along with some courage. Usually the odd one, usually a crackpot, usually somebody that, right? But I can tell you, there was nothing funny about the situation then. We were grim because we felt our lives and our homes were threatened. Yeah. They finally got something that was their own, and now these freaking alcoholics, these uncouth alcoholics are going to come take it away from me. I don't know. I'd be pretty protective too. I'd probably have some fears. I would probably have some fears. We were grim because we felt our lives, homes were threatened, and that was no laughing matter. Intolerant, you say? Well, we were frightened. See, his fear. Naturally, we began to act like most everybody else does when they're afraid. After all, isn't fear the true basis of intolerance? Yes, we were intolerant. Okay. So remember that the traditions is just one long 10th step. They're just admitting everything that they did wrong, so we don't redo this. Okay. When somebody feels the need to remove somebody else from a meeting or to make rules, it's because there is a fear. I'm going to give you an example for myself. There is a set of people that I do not want to come to my club. I don't. Okay. And they ride Harley motorcycles. So I was going to make a rule, no motorcycles. Okay. No cuts. Can't wear cuts here. See how intolerant that sounds? I can't do that. No. Absolutely not. I cannot do that. What is that? It's a fear. I don't want them to come ruin what it is that I think I'm putting together. That's what the fear is. Okay? Because they do that stuff to me. It's a legitimate fear. But that doesn't mean that because of my fear, that does not give me the justification to tell somebody they cannot be at an AA meeting if they're an alcoholic. Okay? Okay. How could we then guess that all those fears were to prove groundless? I don't know that it's groundless because you learned from it. No, groundless doesn't mean that. That means something else. It means they didn't have a foot to stand on. Never mind. How could we know that thousands of these sometimes frightening people were to make astonishing recoveries and become our greatest workers and intimate friends? Okay. The worse off you got, the more you're going to help. That is not a challenge. Okay? Do not take that challenge. It's not fucking worth it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay? It's not worth it. So, but the worse off you were, the more you can help. The further you've gone down, the further you can go up. Make sense? Yeah. You are an incredible, incredible person. You've been chosen to do things. Okay? And yes, I'm talking about you. Whoever's listening. Okay? I truly believe this. Okay? There's a reason you're in my life. There's a reason for it. And I'm going to find out that reason, because when I find out that reason, I'm going to give you more of it. Because I have all this excess stuff. I have extra love, I have extra joy, extra happiness. So I want to give that away. Okay? And I found that birds of a feather flock together. The people that hang out with me tend to be the odd ducks, man. I tend to hang out with people that are a little bit more odd. And that's okay. But we're not normal. I'm certainly not normal. I don't want to be normal. I don't. I don't jump on bandwagons. I don't do things out of popularity. I do things because they need to be done. Was it credible that AA was to have a divorce rate far lower than average? Could we then foresee that troublesome people were to become our principal teachers of patience and tolerance? Yeah, because sometimes they'll come into the meeting and they'll talk about their PTSD or their, okay? And it's hard, and you're going to need to be tolerant. There's a lot of things in AA meetings I'm just like, oh my God. And since I wear my emotions on my face, I have to be very careful. So this is what I do. I'm a head bobber. If you say something good, I'll be like, yeah. Okay. I even do that in live meetings. I can't help myself. I hear somebody in a meeting and they're doing real well. I just can't accept it. Yeah, I'll say it underneath my breath, but this is under my breath. Yeah. The whole room can still hear it. Could any then imagine a society which would include every conceivable kind of character and cut across every barrier of race, creed, politics, and language with ease. Here we are, though. Here we are in the largest organization in the whole world. In the whole world. I may be wrong on that, but nobody's challenged me on it yet. So I'm going to go with it. Not only are we the largest organization in the world, but no one wanted to be a member. Nobody made it their goal to be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. So you tell me what's going on. You're not going to ever be able to convince me that it's not a miracle. It's a darn miracle is what it is. That's God. All right. Why did AA finally drop all its AA membership regulations? Why did we leave it to each newcomer to decide himself whether he was an alcoholic and whether he should join us? Because they are the only person that can make the decision. Without that decision, little or nothing will happen. Usually nothing. Okay? That's why. Because nobody likes to be told what to do. And certainly nobody likes to be called names. And an alcoholic, unfortunately, in our stigma world, it's a cut down. It's like calling somebody gay or, I'm not going to use some of the other words because no. But you see what I'm going at, right? That's why. Because when we call somebody else an alcoholic, we are calling them a name. You might as well just call them toxic. Call them a narcissist. This is all name calling. Okay? If you say that person is toxic, are they really? Are they really toxic? Is toxic the right word? Can we go maybe for spiritually sick? Can we go for that instead, maybe? Why did we dare to say, contrary to the experience of society and government everywhere, which wasn't working, that we would neither punish nor deprive any AA membership, that we must never compel anyone to pay anything, believe anything, or conform to anything? Because it won't work. Because an alcoholic will not tolerate being told what to do. Period. If there is an ulterior motive, we will find it, which will give us the excuse to go back. Well, they're full of shit. Do you see this? Proving myself right. People like to do this with Bill all the time. Well, Bill did drugs. No, Bill experimented with drugs for his depression. Bill did not do drugs. He did not go out to the corner and shoot up fucking heroin. The answer now seen in tradition 3 was simplicity itself. At last, experience taught us that to take away any alcoholic's full chance was sometimes pronounce his death sentence, and often to condemn him to an endless misery. Who dared be judge, jury, and executioner of his own sick brother? And this is where we need to understand that there are multiple pathways to recovery, and that AA is not the only way. Okay? That's all I'll say on it, because I talk about it a lot. But I don't want people to think I'm stuck in one area. I pulled some of the other. There may be one day when I go back to celebrate recovery. I had a lot of fun there. You make fast friends, right? It's a little more out of control. But my PTSD couldn't handle that. My anxiety couldn't handle it. It was too much excitement for Dion. But there'll probably be a day when I go back. In fact, Celebrate Recovery is probably the next one I'd like to bring into the club. So we're not just doing AA meetings. That's just where I'm starting. No, if somebody comes along and says, I want to start a smart recovery group here, I'll give you the times, man. You bet. Yeah. Did you? Yeah. Good. It's going to cost me $17,500 to get my teeth fixed. Oh, I don't have it. It is. How much time, Patricia? Tell me. Tell us how much time you have. That's awesome. I'm excited for tomorrow now. Right? So who dare be judge and jury? So what we do, this is what I do. I meet people where they're at. And sometimes I find people in AA that are having a hard time in AA. So I help them find something else. But I know what works. But see, it was a better fit. Sometimes AA isn't a good fit for somebody. Sometimes there's too much structure, right? 10 years, woo! Patricia's gonna be an old timer tomorrow. Good job. 10 plus years, old timer, double digits. Daryl, looks like you had a trip. Yeah, he's been cruising around, man. The answer, as group after group saw these possibilities, they finally abandoned all membership regulations. One dramatic experience after another clenched this determination until it became our universal tradition. Here are two examples. On the AA calendar, it was year 2. Yeah, it's expensive. In that time, nothing could be seen but two struggling, nameless groups of alcoholics trying to hold their faces up to the light. Well, I don't feel bad now. Because it was 2 years and they're still struggling. I've only been doing it 4 months. Now I don't feel so bad. Okay. A newcomer appeared at one of these groups, knocked on the door, and asked to be let in. This is one of my favorite. I love this one. That the group's oldest member, he soon proved that he was a desperate case and that above all, he wanted to get well. But he asked, will you let me join your group? Since I am the victim of another addiction, even worse stigmatized than alcoholism, you may not want me among you, or will you? All right. Okay. How fun. How fun. This is, you know what? This next month's just going to be a fun month. It just is. I don't know why. Well, I kind of know why. For some reason, I've been finding my ways to these events. Now I have a couple of events going on. We're going to have a booth and I'll be able to talk to people and raise awareness. And I'm looking forward to it. We're doing it with Cross Purpose. I'm really excited about that. And then we're doing the Brighton Pride Parade. I'll tell that story later. There was a dilemma. What should the group do? The oldest member summoned 2 others and in confidence laid the explosive facts in their lap. Said he, well, what about if we turn the man away? He'll soon die. If we allow him in, only God knows what trouble he'll brew. What shall the answer be? Yes or no? At first, the elders could only look at the objections, of course. We deal, they said, with alcoholics only. Shouldn't we sacrifice this one for the sake of many? Right there, I think nowadays that's when the conversation would end. So went the discussion while the newcomer's fate hung in the balance. Then one of the 3 spoke up in a very different voice. And by very different voice, I think what they're saying is God spoke through this person. What are we really afraid of, he said, is our reputation. We are much more afraid of what people might say than the trouble this strange alcoholic might bring. As I've been talking, 5 short words have been running through my mind. Something keeps repeating to me. What would the master do? Not another word was said. What more indeed could be said? Overjoyed, The newcomer plunged into 12-step work. Tirelessly, he laid AA's message before scores of people. Since this was a very early group, these scores have since multiplied themselves into thousands. Never did he trouble anyone with his other difficulty. AA had taken his first step in the formation of Tradition 3. Okay? Okay, sounds good. I got a page and a half, so but I get through this stuff. I'm a quick reader, so 35 minutes. Sometimes I start talking. Okay. Not long after, the man with the double stigma knocked for admission. AA's other group received its membership, a salesman we shall call Ed. A power driver, this one, and brash as any salesman could possibly be. He had at least an idea a minute on how to improve AA. This was me. This was so me for like the first month. And thank God I had a patient sponsor. So, all right. These ideas he sold to fellow AA members with the same burning enthusiasm with which he distributed automobile polish. Oh, that's funny, Ingrid. But he had one idea that wasn't so sellable. Ed was an atheist. Oh, no! His pet obsession was that AA could not get along better without this God nonsense. He browbeat everybody, and everybody expected that he'd soon get drunk. For at the time, you see, AA was on the pious side. There must be a heavy penalty, it was thought, for blasphemy. Distressingly enough, Ed proceeded to stay sober. I love this shit. Blasphemy, my ass. Suddenly we decide what blasphemy is. Whatever. And I love that. Distressingly enough, Ed proceeded to stay sober. At length, the time came for him to speak in a meeting. We shivered, for we knew what was coming. He paid a fine tribute to the fellowship. He told how his family had been reunited. He extolled the virtue of honesty. He recalled the joys of the 12-step work. And then he lowered the boom. Cried Ed, I can't stand this God stuff. It's a lot of malarkey for weak folks. This group doesn't need it, and I won't have it. To hell with it. A great wave of outrage, resentment engulfed the meeting, sweeping every member into a single resolve. Out he goes. That would probably happen in a meeting now, too. Okay. For anybody out there that does online meetings, okay, if somebody talks like this, you can't kick them out. You don't have, it isn't power, it's responsibility. Yeah, it's starting to come down here too. Will do, brother. The elders led Ed aside. They said firmly, you can't talk like this around here. You have to quit it or get out. Not true. With great sarcasm, Ed came back to them. Now do tell, is that so? He reached over to a bookshelf and took up a sheaf of papers on them, then laid the foreword to the book Alcoholics Anonymous. Then under preparation. He read aloud, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Relentlessly, Ed went on, when you guys wrote that sentence, did you mean it or didn't you? Dismayed, the elders looked at one another, for they knew they had him called. So Ed stayed. What does this tell you? Know your traditions. Okay? Or this will happen to you. Ed not only stayed, he stayed sober month after month. The longer he kept dry, the louder he talked. Against God. The group was in anguish so deep that all fraternal charity had vanished. When, oh when, groaned the members to one another, will that guy get drunk? Quite a while later, I'm only laughing because I didn't have to be there, right? Quite a while later, Ed got a sales job, which took him out of town. At the end of a few days, the news came in. He'd sent a telegram for money, and everybody knew what that meant. Then he got on the phone. In those days, we'd go anywhere on a 12-stop job, no matter how unpromising. But this time, nobody stirred. Leave him alone. Let him try it by himself for once. Maybe he'll learn a lesson. About 2 weeks later, Ed stole by night into an AA member's house. And if you did this nowadays, get your head shot. Just show up in somebody's wake up. I'm sitting in my dining room table and Ed comes walking in from upstairs. I'd be pissed. But life was different. All right. Unknown to the family went to bed. Daylight found the master of the house and another friend drinking their morning coffee. A noise was heard on the stairs. To their consternation, Ed appeared, quizzical smile on his lips. He said, "Have you fellows had your morning meditation?" They quickly sensed he was quite in earnest, and fragments of his story came out. In a neighboring state, Ed had holed up in a cheap hotel. After all his pleas for help had been rebuffed, these words rang in his fevered mind. "They have deserted me. I've been deserted by my own kind. This is the end. Nothing is left." As he tossed on his bed, he brushed the bureau near, touching a book. Opened the book. He read. It was the Gideon Bible. Ed never confided any more of what he thought, felt, and saw in that hotel room. It was the year 1938. He hasn't had a drink since. Nowadays, when old-timers who Ed foregather, they exclaim, "What if we had actually succeeded in throwing Ed out for blasphemy? What would have happened to him and all the others he had later helped?" So, the hand of Providence early gave us a sign that any alcoholic is a member of our society when they say so. Yeah. We still have more reading. This is just a quick reflection from it. So, I first heard the short form of the third tradition, the preamble. When I came to AA, I could not accept myself, my alcoholism, or a higher power. If there had been any physical, mental, moral, or religious requirements for membership, I would be dead today. Agreed. I don't know that I would have been able to make it. I wouldn't have been able to follow the requirements, man. Agreed. Bill W. said in his tape on traditions that third tradition is a charter for individual freedom. Yay. The most impressive thing to me was the feeling of acceptance for members who were practicing the third tradition by tolerating and accepting me. I felt acceptance is love, and love is God's will for us. All right. There were a lot of people that gave me patience and tolerance. It took me 3 years to get off the hooch. And I would go to Bill's Brown Baggers, okay? And they would help, and they would help, and they would help. And it was until one day a man came up to me and said, "Dion, you don't know God." Actually, this is what he said. He said, "Dion, we love you. We love you here. You don't have God in your life. So I'm going to introduce you to God. I'm going to be your sponsor." That's what happened. I love you. Thank you for being here. I love you. Peace out and have a day.